What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Sunday League Screamers podcast. I'm your host of today's show, Steve McCutcheon, along with my two co-hosts, Michael Nowen and Vito Anazelli. Say hello, fellas.
Hey, what's going on, Steve?
Good evening. Good evening. How you doing?
What a hello there, Michael. Thank you. Before we get started, just take a second if anyone listening right now, take a moment, hit the bell, subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere else that you guys find your podcast. Also follow us on Twitter at the SL Screamers_pod. Now let's get the show on the road. So some news and notes from around the world. I'm sure you guys saw it all over Twitter or internet just somewhere. The Nice versus Olympique Marseille game. Dimitri Payet went to go take a corner kick. Reports said, he had stuff being thrown at him all game, and he got hit in the back right in the back with a bottle. He reached down, turned around, and just chucked into the stands. And I think we saw the rest where all the Nice fans just hopped the barricade. Security did absolutely nothing. I don't know if you guys saw that. It looked very bad. And OM actually had to forfeit the game 3-0 because they wouldn't come back onto the field. What's your guys' thoughts?
Well, first off, I've always expected the stewards were going to be useless if they wanted to storm the field, and it's proven 100% correct. I mean, this isn't like every time Nice and Marseille play each other is usually a heated affair. I mean, was he right to throw the bottle back at the fans? No, but do I understand? Of course I do. I mean, the guy's running around, giving everything he has to win that game, and then he tries to take a corner kick. He's getting pelted with shit from the stands. If your fans are going to throw shit, then they shouldn't be allowed to bring shit in. How's that? Let's start there. If you control yourself, it's it.
They have to be handing out some serious bans, in all honesty. Like the second you come onto the field, the second you not even touch a player, but come onto the field, cross that barrier and cross that boundary, immediate lifetime ban from the stadium. Should never be allowed back into that stadium. They got to draw the line right here, right now, nip it in the butt, because that's player endangerment. That's other fan endangerment. That's absolutely terrible. And the fact that they made Marseille forfeit the game too, it's like, oh, I guess you could I saw someone tweet like, oh, I guess you can just win games now by having your fans storm the field. So.
Someone tell Arsenal quick.
They could use it, no doubt. And then some transfer news. We obviously already saw Messi join PSG, and there are reports coming out of Juventus that Ronaldo wants to transfer out. He apparently requested not to start against, honestly, I really don't know who they played, to be honest with you.
I think it was Udinese.
Udinese. So what do you guys have thoughts on that he might want out of there? And where would he even go?
I don't think it's far-fetched. I mean, it can't be good for him to sit there and see Messi join arguably what is going to be one of the greatest teams to ever be on the field at one time. And especially considering how Juventus has performed over the last year and a half or so. It's a little confusing because you have Allegri on the other hand going a day or two before what this report came out saying that he spoke with Ronaldo and Ronaldo told him that he wants to stay and he will stay. So to be truthfully honest, it's kind of hard to make heads or tails of this. I can't see Juventus letting him go for at least 40, 50 million pounds to try to get something back for him. I know how old he is at this point, but it's still Ronaldo. I don't think he's going to leave this season. I think he'll be gone next season though.
I don't think he leaves this season either, but I think, and I'll just double down to avoid saying anything too redundant, but I think the bigger story that you're missing here, Steve, is that Weston McKennie might be on the transfer market as well.
I did see that Ashton Villa.
To Tottenham nonetheless, right, Mike?
Exactly, which they're talking about an Ndombele swap, maybe with McKennie, a little cash here and there. We'll see, not to derail it, but Ronaldo, he's not going anywhere. He's staying in the last couple of days. The only team that could afford him, or teams that could afford him, United just signed a winger. City, they're supposedly going all out for Kane still. PSG, it will not happen unless they sell Mbappe, which they won't do. So at least this summer.
Maybe Chelsea comes in for him.
It'll be interesting to see. I feel like the Premier League is the only spot that he could actually land correctly between the clubs that actually have the money for him. And I also saw, I don't know how true the reports were, Weston to Aston Villa, who I thought would make an incredible signing for him. And they need that box-to-box guy, let McGinn go forward, and then, Buendia and all those guys, Bailey, and just let him go nuts. So it'd be interesting to see.
Barcelona.
Nice background change.
Yeah.
All right, so on to our Stars and Stripes recap. This is where we go over any of the United States men's national team players that had some standout performances, some bad performances, or some transfer news. First up, Mike, we got Gio Reyna.
We do have Gio Reyna. So Gio Reyna, quick recap, played 70 minutes, had 88% passing on the day, 5 specifically key passes. He was 2 for 2 on his dribbles completed, 6 of 8 duels won, 5 recoveries, and a 2-1 loss. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, he had a pretty good day at the office, to say the least. He's definitely putting in the shifts, and we talked about this on the week prior. He's really filling that like 8 role for Dortmund pretty well. It'd be really interesting to see how Berhalter sees this, watches these games, implements him potentially in the World Cup qualifiers, and if he plays that role, especially given the emergence of a couple other talents on the wings, which I'm sure we'll get to a little bit later in the podcast. But great day for him all around. Besides the loss, he had a good game. So,
yeah, I think with the emergence of Conrad too, like that we're seeing right now, I think Greg's best position would be putting Conrad or even Tim Weah or someone else on that right wing, putting Reyna in that number 8 role, like you just said, and number 10, even whatever, whichever one you want. So next up, Anthony Robinson.
Yeah, Anthony Robinson has been great for Fulham this year so far. He's played every single minute for them. Fulham's now on top of the table. He had an assist last game against Hull in their 2-0 victory. And most notably, he played 12 long balls, 10 of which were accurate. That is an incredible number for him. And, you know, you got to give a little shout out to Tim Ream over there as well. He's played almost every single minute with him, with the exception of Hull, where he came off in the 21st minute through an injury. But Anthony Robinson's picking up right where he was, where he'd left off. I think he's been great for Fulham. Steve, I think you were saying it at the end of last year that you were happy with him being at Fulham and getting those championship minutes really helped his development. And it's clearly paying off for them. He's been an absolute revelation for them in the back line and in what is the best back line in the championship at the moment.
Out of curiosity, do you think, I guess for the two of you, who would be the starting left back right now? You think it'd be Robinson coming into a World Cup qualifier?
I would, based on the sample size. I don't think Joe Scally's seen enough time, especially at left back yet, to actually justify that. The only other person I could see taking that would be Desk, and then moving someone like Cannon, Yedlin, or Shaq Moore, or someone else into the right back spot.
I agree, Steve. I'd actually move Desk to the right-hand side because he's versatile on both flanks, and I'd keep Robinson on the left.
Yeah, and the way he's playing too currently, like just being in form like this, I wouldn't change anything right now. But obviously, you know, we have World Cup qualifiers are coming up, and if I'm not mistaken, it's a 7 to 8 day period, and there's 3 games. So
yeah,
it's a good problem to have, regardless.
Yeah, great problem to have. We're going to need depth. We have some injuries right now, some COVID stuff going on with Pulisic. So we're not going to be, I don't think, at full strength necessarily, but we're going to see a lot of rotation going on, not just from our team, but from everybody. But I think with the amount of depth that we have, it's going to really start to stand out for us. Next up, we got Miles Robinson. He's an MLS guy chilling with Atlanta. I don't know how he still doesn't have a European move yet, but he's basically continued the same run of form he's had from the Gold Cup. He had 90 minutes played over this past weekend, 3 out of 5 accurate long balls, 88% passing, 8 out of 12 duels won, 3 out of 4 tackles completed, and 6 recoveries. I don't know if it's too soon to say this, but the way he's been playing recently, do you guys put him next to Brooks, or do you take someone like Richards or McKenzie?
After the Gold Cup, I honestly had him slotted in my head next to Brooks.
I think I'm the same way now, man. Honestly,
I agree.
How do you not, like, Richards isn't getting any time at Bayern. He hasn't made a move like he should be making right now. They can't get rid of him. I don't know how you don't start next to him. At this point, it just doesn't make any sense not to.
There's only a few players in the world that can slot in and out of a national team purely on name, and the only one on our team right now is McKennie and Pulisic. All these other guys are purely on form, and he's the most in form by a mile.
Yeah, and I'd love to see the partnership too. And like, obviously, Brooks is getting up there in age. He's definitely got this World Cup. Maybe if he somehow extends it to 2026, but it'd be great for him to give him that European experience, tossing on the Robinson, and him to start to be the leader for the future.
I'd agree, 100%.
Last up, we got Brendan Aronson.
Yeah, he had quite the week. So basically, in the qualifying game for the Champions League, his team, the Salzburg in Austria, right? Or Red Bulls in Austria. We'll just call them that.
Yeah,
a lot of Red Bull teams out there. He came on half, and the second he came on, realistically, he was a game changer. We watching him play, we know that he has a really innate ability to be direct with the way he plays, and give him the opportunity, give him the chance, and he's going to come in and do something. 78% passing, 1 key pass. Most importantly, he had the 1 key goal in the 89th minute, 90th minute, right? He's an amazing player going forward. He makes things happen. This kind of goes back to the thing we were just talking about with, the excess of wingers and what does Berhalter do in those scenarios. It's going to be interesting to see how he utilizes Aronson, because based on form, like Vito was just saying, kids in form, got to play him. Got to bring him. So
Yep.
I agree with you absolutely.
Yeah.
And we also had a little bit of history. Vito brought this up over in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, first time in Bundesliga history that two American managers have come face to face in domestic tournament. It was the Leipzig-Stuttgart game. Jesse Marsch and Pellegrino Matarazzo, sorry. Unfortunately,
You're messing
for
up the Italian
Pellegrino,
names, bro.
yeah, sorry, yeah, whatever.
Get out of here, no.
That happens. Unfortunately for Pellegrino, they got stomped out. Leipzig came away 4-0 winners, but that's a good sign. Starting to see more American managers getting the nod and getting chances to play in these big leagues with these big teams, and it's great to see. Can't wait for more. I mean, we didn't have a great luck with what was his name when he came over to the Premier League? He took over.
Bob Bradley.
Yeah. What was it? 14 days or something?
Swansea.
Yeah, Swansea. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was a bad look.
Yeah.
no offense to Bob Bradley, but
sorry, Bobby.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, especially like Jesse Marsch. Like he's apparently, from reading reports about him too, like the players love working with him. They love playing underneath him. He's very motivating. I didn't realize this, but he speaks fluent German, like very fluent German. So he's talking to them in German all the time. They love it. They eat it up. I'd be curious to see what he's able to get out of that team moving forward, especially in the Champions League as they go to challenge. So
there's actually a really cool clip of him. I want to say it's during a Champions League game. I think it was Salzburg versus Liverpool, like about 1 or 2 years ago, and he was coaching them.
Mhm.
And he just keeps going back and forth in between English and Austrian or German and whatever language he was speaking. Freaking nuts. And you just see him ripping these guys a new one. And they came out and almost took Liverpool down in the second half. It's really cool.
I remember that game. Yeah.
So
he's good.
Bob Bradley messes up. Jesse Marsch is sliding right into that national team, baby.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have our weekly recap where we just go over everything that happened in the Barclays Premier League over the last week. And first up, we had Liverpool and Burnley. Pretty much everything we thought we saw last week when we predicted this outcome. I think we all actually said 2-0, ironically.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, right. So great for us. We missed out on probably a nice plus 600 on FanDuel right there for us.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
It would have been. But Burnley actually, they came out of the game firing right away. I thought they missed a chance or two that one got saved and they just shanked another one and everything. But besides that, Liverpool just kind of took control, showed their class, and you just ousted them to a 2-0 win. Mm-hmm. Then we had Aston Villa, Newcastle.
Yeah, this was another game that we all predicted as a Villa win. I think for the most part, we were all saying like a 1-1, a 1-0, or like a 2-0. We have to double check. But for the most part, we all got the Villa win in our prediction sheets. But God, man, Danny Ings. How much did they sign him for? Like 20 mil?
25, 30, depending on whatever currency.
From his form already, he's worth every damn penny at this point in time, assuming he doesn't get injured. Guy's playing really well. If he plays well, he's scoring goals. They're going to help fill that hole that Grealish left. So, I mean, yeah, more power to him. Again, Villa, I think it's everybody's dark horse at this point. But if they keep playing like that, they keep gelling, they're going to be good at the end of the season. So,
yeah, I agree. Is Watkins still out for them? I don't know if he's back yet because I know he had a knock or something.
Not sure.
I don't think he played last week.
Yeah, I think he's been out a little bit. So it's gonna be interesting when he comes back and they're both at full strength. If they implement a 2-striker top, or they just stick with one of them, and then one's the super sub for the most part.
Yeah, they're gonna be good.
They'll be good.
Then we had Crystal Palace and Brentford.
Yeah, a bit of a dull affair for the weekend of excitement. It ended 0-0 there. It was kind of just a back and forth kind of stalemate. About equal possession. Brentford ended up out shooting Crystal Palace about 14-7, but they only placed one extra shot on target, 3 in total, which is obviously not good enough to win the game there. So they need to start cleaning up their finishing if they want a chance to nab some more points, especially after they just took 3 off Arsenal. I think both sides deserved a point here. I think it's good for Palace to get that point after Chelsea took them apart first week and kind of gain a little bit of confidence there moving forward. But I think they'll both be fine for the rest of the season. And I'm excited to see Brentford already accruing 4 points in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to say they were surprised. I think we all had pretty high hopes for them in terms of they came on one of the better defensive teams from the championship, and obviously Ivan Toney up front. I would like to see more out of him though. He hasn't necessarily. I don't know if he's had the same supply that he's probably getting in the league below. Maybe that's what's kind of hurting him right now. But I know Mbembo. I don't know how you say his last name. The French guy up front. He's usually their creative guy. I know he hit the woodwork on a free kick and everything. So. We'll see if he can start supplying Toney a little bit. I know he missed a header just barely, but
Tony had 5 shots that game. And
Did he really?
yeah, didn't put a single one on target.
Interesting. I like to see
Maybe-
where
I'm sorry, that's not true. He did put one on target, but he didn't convert a shot.
Huh. Okay. Next up on the weekend, like we said, most open game probably. Leeds United and Everton. And it is a fun fact. Leeds United can draw in the Premier League. It does actually happen. We're all idiots, apparently. But like I said, it was a very open game, fair result. They both took some chances. Obviously, it was 2-2, but they also both missed some game winners that they easily probably should have put away. My biggest concern with it, besides obviously with Leeds, we already knew defensively they're going to give up goals, but they're going to score them. Everton, Michael Keane seems to be really not hot right now. I don't know what's going on with the guy.
He's struggling.
Like,
Yeah,
is he hung over every
going on with
game?
him.
Like, I don't really know, but there's something going on with their defensive mishaps. Currently, Kurt Zuma's out on the market. I don't think that'd be a bad pickup for them one bit.
No, especially not for, what was it, 35 million was the reported fee for Zuma.
Yeah.
25 to 35, somewhere in that range.
It's looking pretty good to me at that point. Yeah, he's been kind of a shell of his former self too. He's been someone I've thought very highly of for the last few years. I thought he's just a very well all around defender. I don't think necessarily he's world class Sergio Ramos, of course, but I think he's a great signing for Everton, and he does what's need to be done. But you're right, Steve. This year he just kind of has looked a foot off the pace, almost like he's out of fitness. Like he can't keep up with the pace of the game.
Yeah, it's weird. They're just bad. They're like dumb mistakes that he like doesn't commit. So it's really weird.
Mm.
Then we had Man City and Norwich City. You can take this one, Mike. There's not much to it.
Yeah, not really sure who Norwich pissed off, but what god they have to pray to, who do they have to talk to at the FA. But man, the schedule doesn't get easy for Norwich. But
I'm telling you, dudes, their owner banged someone's wife. There's no other situation.
But yeah, long story short, Man City, nothing better to play them after they take a loss. So especially to Spurs. Yeah, so Pep Guardiola, the ball genius, comes out 5-0 win. They never stood a chance. So we'll move on.
Norwich needs Ted Lasso.
Grealish scored also, which is nice. He got his goal,
Yeah.
got the monkey off his back. So yeah.
That could be huge for him later in the season, just not having that duck on him, and everyone's chanting 100 million.
Yeah.
Then we had the primetime game on Saturday, actually, Brighton Watford.
Yeah, Brighton Watford. I enjoyed this game. I thought it was going to be a little more out of its shell, because I looked at this game and thinking Brighton and Watford aren't going to have too many opportunities this year to take 3 points off of a lot of teams, especially some of these bigger teams. We've talked about their struggles in front of net for both of these sides, and that was where the issues were going to stem from. And I mean, not for nothing, this game was kind of no different. There was 4 shots on target for the entire game. Watford only managed 1. I think Brighton outplayed Watford overall. I think they end up deserving all 3 points there. So it's good for them to come away with that. The big negative there is Malpe coming away with that injury. I mean, 2 goals in 2 games. He's the guy you need firing for them, and seeing him go out, that's very, very worrying. I didn't see the report on how serious it is. Have you guys seen anything about that?
No.
Initial stuff was the manager basically just said, we hope his day is not weak. So obviously that tells you.
Okay, that's good.
Have they still not made an inquiry to sign anybody up top with him, or nothing? They're just sticking to their guns.
I haven't seen anything.
Sticking to the guns.
It's shocking.
It really is. It's very shocking.
But
not even for granted, yes, we've been over this plenty of times, right? Like, they do create a crap ton of chances for a Premier League team. Like, their expected goals is typically always anywhere between 1 and 1.5 every game, which is really great. But Malpai, okay, yeah, he's stepping up this year. Okay, let's just slot someone right in behind him.
Yes.
Injury, whatever, competition, something.
Yeah. It'll be amazing too if they are able to keep a hold of Yves Bissouma. I would expect whether it's January or next summer, that dude's going to another club.
It's going to depend on how they're looking at the table, I think.
If they're safe and secure come January and some sick offer comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they're fighting for it, absolutely not.
No way. What was interesting about this game in particular, we were saying it a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about predictions for the season and whatnot. And when we got to Brighton, I had said that last year, Brighton's 3rd highest goal scorer was a defender. They weren't getting many goals from up top or even from their midfield. They were getting goals from the back. And now it's the 2nd game in, and Shane Duffy, their defender, gets the goal today. Gets a goal the other day.
Maybe they're onto something. We don't know.
Apparently, they're going to buy Ronaldo, stick him in the left back position, let him bomb forward, and call it a day, because if that's where they're going to be getting all of their goals from, they have a couple things to figure out.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Duffy was even on loan last year. I forget to where. I think I want to say Celtic or somewhere. But I'm not exactly sure, but he wasn't even around. And then for him just to come back and shows up right away, 10 minutes in.
Got the goal.
Big facts. Then probably the shock of the weekend, Southampton won. Beat guys. I actually fair. In the beginning, Man U pretty much got out into control. Southampton kind of shocked them, scored a goal. And then afterwards, Man U took over. They didn't get anything before half. Come after halftime, scored. You think, okay, maybe they're just going to run away with this one. Kind of the opposite happened. They started getting sloppy on the ball, losing possession. And Southampton almost nicked the winner. Armstrong, I think, really should have beat De Gea one-on-one right there. And De Gea made a massive save.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, like a really big save. So I think Man U's a little lucky to walk away with a point in a sense, rather than nothing. But granted, they both had chances to win the game. They both missed, so 1-1 seemed like a fair result to me at least. But Man U dropping points early to a lower half team kind of makes me, question their run.
Yeah, it's a little worrying. I think consistency for Man United has been kind of an issue for the last couple of years under Ole. And this has kind of been a great example. I mean, that Man United performance first week out was probably one of the strongest I've seen them put together in a year and a half. Like, it was unbelievable what they did. I mean, granted, two guys basically did it themselves, and Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba, but it was great. But a team that just lost their top player in Danny Ings is going to draw you 1-1 after you absolutely dismantle. Was it Leeds the first week? Like, that's you're right. That's worrying.
A little bit, yeah. And my biggest thing with them is just depth in general. Like, I don't think they're a very deep team. So, I mean, granted, congrats to Pogba, another assist. Dude's got 5 now in the year. It's pretty nuts. Great start.
That's insane.
Yeah, so good for him. He's playing like he should be, and I guess for a transfer at this point too, he definitely wants to help.
Yeah, they're gonna be. I think it's just a small hiccup, and they'll still finish top 4. Not concerned about that. The one thing that kind of threw me off too, and I wanted to bring this up, was Ole's comments after the game about kind of how they thought it was like it should have been a foul or something like that. He wasn't a fan that it was like too physical. And in my head, I'm like, dude, like, you'd rather have people flopping around. Like, come on, like.
I thought this is the best 2 weeks of football we've had. Like, I enjoy the fouls that aren't getting called. I'm like, yes, thank you.
Exactly.
Get up and get on with it.
Exactly.
And it might. I'm guessing it's probably gonna take a month or 2 for players to actually just realize, like, okay, shit, like I just get up, just go with it. But I thought the refs have been doing an excellent job over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Yeah.
I'm very happy with how they're calling the games, and I don't say that often or sparingly, especially with Premier League refs. So very, very happy with that. So
I'm just starting to realize they have VAR to save their ass if they miss one. It's better to miss the call than to call it and it be useless. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's good.
It's actually, Mike, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually forgot about it and I wanted to write that down. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But weird part is, didn't Ole play like during that kind of stage where, like,
he played in that era.
Yeah,
played in that era.
Like, I don't get it.
It was probably more hardcore when he played.
Late 90s, early 2000s Premier League. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Elbows to the throat.
Sense. Yeah, it's a weird one for me. But then we had kind of a nice storyline: Wolves and Spurs. Nuno returned to Molyneux.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I did not think that Spurs would nick a win. And to be honest, my thoughts almost became a reality, especially when Adama Traore had a one-on-one clear through. It totally missed his opportunity against great save Hugo Lloris. But yeah, I mean, Wolves looked, honestly, after that Spurs goal, really good. And they were in control for most of that game up until like the last 10-ish minutes when Spurs kind of were able to slow it down. But awesome game, good result to grind out. As of right now, keep going Spurs, man. That's the results you need. That was the types of games last season where if dear leader Jose was in charge, they would have lost 2-1. Realistically, they would have lost 2-1. Right. They would have become a shell of themselves. So
Daniel Levy had to be sitting up in the box watching that Adama Traore mix, just looking at the transfer request list and be like, fuck that. Cross him off the list.
Yeah. We'll see if they want to pay 40 mil for him just to dribble around and shoot balls into Rosie. But
what do you guys think of Wolves, though? Obviously, they've dropped 2-1 losses. You guys have any concerns with them?
Yeah,
as of right,
no.
Go ahead.
Take it away.
I was gonna say, as of right now, to be honest, watching that game, their coach, and I can't remember his name for the life of me,
Bruno Lage.
Bruno Lage. The way he has that team playing, though, like honestly, watching that first game, that was the first time I've seen them play. They looked really good. Like they were moving the ball really well. It was slick movement, counter-attacking, counter-pressing. Like I think they just need a little bit more time to gel. I wouldn't be too concerned just yet, given the fact that they still have Jimenez, they still have Traore for the time being, right? There's like one or two players who are still injured, but the team looked good. It's just more about, I think they're trying to implement that identity and style, and they're going to give it time, but they'll probably still finish that mid-table mark. So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, Nuno historically has said when he was managing at Wolves, they historically had seen less of the ball. They were comfortable out of possession a lot of the games that they played in it. And even against his old team, what you expect, if there's one team he's going to come out and just absolutely tear apart, it's going to be a team he managed for multiple years. But Tottenham had only 42% of the possession. He doesn't mind not having the ball. It's not a problem for them. So I'm wondering if some of these Wolverhampton players are looking at this, trying to adjust to this new style of play where they want to be on the front foot and pressing the opposition. And I think it'll click for them eventually. There's enough talent in that lineup that it will, but it's going to be curious to see how long it's going to take for that to happen.
Yeah, I mean they've created 42 shots and only 9 on target in the first 2 game season, which is incredibly bad, but also incredible that they're creating 42 shots at the same time. So I'm curious to see. I don't have the shot chart in front of me or anything like that to see where they're coming from, how good of quality chances they actually are and stuff. So we'll see. Out of all the teams that don't have a goal yet and are on the bottom half of the table,
they're most likely to.
Yes,
not the least I'm worried about realistically.
Yeah.
Then we had a London derby, Chelsea and Arsenal.
Yeah, I was in LA for this one, Arsenal bar, actually.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice
I walked
flex.
out my Chelsea jersey on. I'm like, fuck this one up. I think everyone predicted that Chelsea win. It was kind of a no-brainer. Arsenal's been a little, well, let's just say off the beat the last year and a half. Lukaku was great. He did exactly what they were looking for, hold-up play. Instead of that little intricate passing play in between the lines that Chelsea had been doing it for a while with Werner, who didn't have that physicality, you could tell they were picking their head up and they were looking to either play into feet or spin them off into the channel to send them through. And that's what happened for a lot of their best moves. And especially when they ended up coming down the left and Lukaku made a late run and the ball went past him and, ends up at Reece James's foot, who had a nice finish there. But I think it was exactly what every Chelsea supporter wanted to see from Romelu Lukaku in that lineup. And I think now it not only gives them a different dimension going forward, but I think without Harry Kane going to City, I think that makes Chelsea favorites now at this point.
I would say so, based on, granted, City dismantled Norwich and it's Norwich. But I mean, again, that's the importance of having a true 9, be able to play and then occupy those central defenders. I mean, literally, Pablo Mari had a nightmare of a game. He got manhandled. He got thrown to the ground on the first goal.
Like JJ Watt and Pee Wee football.
So now you have to be thinking most defenders in the Prem are pretty physical, but especially Lukaku's on a different level as being a specimen, right? So you have to have at minimum maybe 2 people occupying him because you don't know where that guy's
with what 4 years already Premier League experience, so it's not like it's a new league for him.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be a nightmare to play against tactically. Like it's not going to be fun to play against them.
I really, really, really want to see Pulisic healthy and playing with Lukaku because I think he's going to do the same exact thing he did with Giroud, where he made the runs off of him, and they're going to link up so much. I think anyone going forward in the midfield and the wings for Chelsea is going to have a great season just because of Lukaku.
I think it's going to end up even being better for him because while Giroud was a goal scorer technically, Lukaku's definitely more of a threat in the front of the net than Giroud is. So the defenders are going to have to focus on Lukaku even more than they were focusing on Giroud, which is going to open up even more space for Pulisic to dart in and out. I would like to see him link up with Havertz for that too, because Havertz is another one who can finish, but is also great with that link up style.
I think Tuchel will eventually play Lukaku and Werner and Lukaku and Havertz up top front very, very shortly.
Almost like a 4-2-2-2 with like 2 outside cams, 2 strikers, and 2 center mids behind them.
Yeah, and they all just rotate up top with no issues. And then the last game of the week, we had a Monday nighter, West Ham and Leicester City. Big congrats to Mikel Antonio on becoming the leading BPL scorer for West Ham. Don't know if they dropped 4 on them without the red card. We also had our first red card of the year. Curious on your thoughts on that in a little bit. But they looked like the more dangerous team beforehand, even when everyone was at full strength. So West Ham's they literally are just the same exact team as last year, clicking on all cylinders. Again, your boy Said Benrahma coming up with a goal and an assist. Just want to say that, my breakout player of the year, killing it. Rubbing that in Mike's face because Daka came on and did nothing. So,
He had a nice big whiff, and then
he did
Tielemans
on the goal too, right?
Yeah.
Hey, he still said Tielemans somehow. But what was your guys' thoughts on the red card? I actually thought it was a very fair. It looked a lot worse slowing it down, but at the same time, it was a dangerous play.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. When you're going around, I get it, you're being pushed from behind, but even in full speed, like the stomp, like he has enough time to think, in my mind, to see like, okay, this guy's in front of me. I don't have to go for this ball. He straight up stomps on his leg. He's lucky he didn't break his leg, in all honesty.
I don't know how he did not.
He's very lucky.
Saw the impact. There, like his leg just like rubber banded a little bit. And I'm like, there's no shot.
Yeah. It's not like he was like his legs were flailing and whatnot. You can tell he made an active movement to stick his foot out and try to get to the ball, and then just came down on him. I mean, when that ball initially got played into him, that was like a 25, 30-yard pass into him on the ground. And I was like, there's no one around him. Like, I don't know why he'd be doing it in the first place. I feel bad for him. Did he mean it? Probably not.
I don't think so.
I don't think
it's a red card. It is. It's dangerous play. He made an active attempt to go for the ball, whether or not he was stumbling, and he could have broke his ankle.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you guys.
I do agree, though, not giving it out in real time, because when I watched it in real time, I didn't think it was a red card. I was like, all right, maybe a yellow, that's fair, but you're right. In slow-mo, no way.
Well, anything in slow-mo is going to look worse.
But
it looks worse, but you're able to like. This is one of the situations where, yes, it looked worse, but you also could easily justify the red because of where he stepped on the cleats and like everything with it too.
And the fact you see him look where he's about to step.
Yeah.
Like
that was the weird
part. At one point, he was like, ooh.
I thought he kind of like whiffed on the ball or something. It was a really weird play, just kind of sequenced in general.
Yeah.
But out of curiosity, I mean, we've got 2 weeks down the Premier League. What team would you move up or down the table on our tables that we projected out, and why?
How far can I drop Arsenal?
Yeah, I swear to God, that was what I was going to say.
That was the next question we were going to get to. Let's
and then,
not surprise anybody.
And then, all honesty, I have Palace right now, or at least I had Palace at 13. I honestly might switch Palace down to a little bit farther and maybe push up Brighton a little bit or someone along those lines. Because Palace, up till this point, granted it's 2 weeks in, don't want to overreact, but hasn't really looked the greatest. So
I'm with you on that. When I had Palace at 12, I'd move them down. Brighton definitely up. Obviously Brighton sitting top 4. That actually first place on Saturday at the end of the day. But
wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So Brighton, the only reason like I wouldn't consider them necessarily a top half team is like how well they are converting right now, because they only had about, I think it's 9 or 10 shots on target in the first 2 games, and they had 4 goals, which is basically hitting around 40%ish. I looked up Manchester City's shot on goals compared to how many goals they scored last year, and it's basically almost identical. So I don't think they had the quality and the talent in order to keep up with the team or the quality and talent of someone like Manchester City in order to keep that throughout an entire season. So yes, I think Brighton's going to do much better this year based off what they create. But top half team, I don't necessarily know, but I would definitely move them up my rankings to about that. Probably right where I had Crystal Palace, more than likely.
That's what I would agree with.
Yeah,
I'd almost like flip flop them.
Yeah,
I have 2. I'd move Brentford up. I'm happy with the way they're playing. I had them in the relegation. I actually had them as relegation, a relegation team in 17th place or 18th place. Sorry. I'd move them up a bit. I think they're going to finish closer, probably 13th or 14th, kind of where we all have Palace at now. And the big one that I move up is Chelsea. I picked Chelsea to finish 4th before Lukaku signing came through.
I was shocked about that.
And after I was going off pure squads at the time, not in potential transfers coming in. But now with Lukaku in that team, I'd move them to number 1 or 2. And the only reason I would even think about number 2 is just if City ends up getting Kane from Spurs. Maybe Arsenal down.
I think we're all in that.
I mean, it's hard to say anybody else when they're like the clear candidate for that,
Yeah. So okay, so let's go. What team do you think looks like in the most trouble? Obviously, we're all saying Arsenal here. Is there anyone else that kind of stands out to you?
Palace. Palace.
Norwich
is tough for me because yes, it's just I think the quality of opposition they played. I thought they played Liverpool well, but yeah, there might be something still missing from them, and I thought they fixed it with some of the signings they made.
I think it's easy to say a team like Watford would be, one to worry about because of the way they've performed in the opening 2 weeks, but I had them finishing last in the season, so I kind of expected it. I had Norwich escaping the relegation zone slightly this year. I thought they were going to come back with a bit of a vengeance, and I get it. You played Man City.
They played two terrible.
They haven't had a winnable game. They're probably not going to with Leicester. Arsenal,
maybe
in a typical year.
There's a chance they lose like their opening 6 of 7, and that is a absolute. Well, actually, that's not true. They play Arsenal a little bit, so they'll get a win there. But afterwards, it's like 5 of 8 games, 6 of 7 games, whatever it is. I think morale's going to get to them. I'm worried about them.
It's tough. Yeah, Liverpool, then Arsenal. Their first, I think the 5th game is their first winnable, realistically, is Watford. And if they go 0-4, like that's a legitimate must-have game at that point. You need to get like those type of points.
Yeah.
What team is overachieving the most for you guys, and why?
I feel like they haven't done it yet in terms of overachieving, but from what I'm expecting them to do, especially after the performance today, West Ham, I had them a little bit lower, and I get a feeling that like I didn't put them high enough to be really challenging for a European spot, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that, granted, like I wasn't sure if they're going to be able to do it again this year with David Moyes. They're missing Lingard and a couple players, but like we just said, like they look like a wagon right now, man. Like they look good.
Yeah. I have them at 7. I had them at 7, but I think they'll be closer to 5. I think they'll finish outside the big 4. After watching how Spurs performed the opening 2 weeks, and obviously Arsenal, Leicester City, they just spanked Leicester City, and I had them finishing before that. I think I move them up too.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys on that one. Yeah, I really like West Ham. I had them 7th or 8th as well. There's no doubt I think they'll be challenging for a top 4 spot for a very long time throughout the season. I just don't think they necessarily have enough to get there.
They won't have the juice. Yeah, they won't have the
juice. Towards the end
tough.
Again. But my team, I guess I'd say is overachieving would be Brighton again. I kind of explained it already with like the whole expected goals and stuff like that. So I think they're going to do much better than last year. I think they're not going to be towards the bottom in the relegation battle at all, but I don't see them obviously maintaining any type of the pace that they're currently on.
Yeah.
They've also had two games, and they're about to have a third that's very winnable. So I think if they can pick up all 9 points there, they really start the year off well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another team I think too is I know I'm not saying in terms of points, but in terms of performances, I think Wolves are performing a lot better than I expected them to do after Nuno departed. I expected there to be a big falter after that team, especially considering how he likes to play, and they have just come out swinging. Their biggest issue is they're not converting. Again, even the first game against Leicester, 17 shots and only 3 on target. Obviously not good enough. They have to figure out a solution to the Raul Jimenez problem, who's been injured, and with Jota having gone. But they have Fabio Silva, but he hasn't done much. But I think they're playing better than I thought they were, and better than a lot of people expecting them to be playing this point.
Honestly, they did look very good against Spurs this past weekend. They really did. They were very unlucky not to nick one at a minimum.
Yes, completely agree.
I can see that. They were I thought Nuno was the reason they were very successful. Mm-hmm. Like he was one of those coaches that made them play above their potential. Now I'm starting to think their team is actually very, very legit, and not saying you can swap any manager in there by any means, but they brought in the right guy who's going to fit his system to his players, and they'll still be just okay.
You mean a Portuguese guy?
Exactly. They know.
They Jose.
Chill. Let's not ruin them. Don't want to see them relegated. All right, so let's hear some of the predictions for the upcoming week. We got match week 3 on the horizon. First game up, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. Manchester City and Arsenal. Vito's laugh says it all.
Oh my God. I hope Arsenal fans are going to be drinking during that game, because it's the only way they're going to get through it. It's got to be City. Even if City were to lose, no one in the right mind would pick Arsenal in this matchup. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just don't have the guts to say Arsenal or draw. I don't see it. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I'm obviously going Man City. How bad do you think this potential scoreline could be with the way they've looked? I wouldn't be shocked at 3 or 4-0 win Man City.
I honestly see a 3-0. Like I really do, especially after watching Pablo Mari and Callum Chambers. Like, granted that City doesn't have a 9 right now, but I don't think they really have to worry about that against those defenders. So
No.
I mean,
Aubameyang's not playing. Lacazette hasn't been playing. I think 3-0 would be considered success at this point for them. I hate to be that harsh, but if Chelsea just put 2 behind them and could have had way more, City's going to come by with the same exact fury. And I'm pretty sure it's at the Etihad. It's not in Emirates this time.
Oh well, that actually gives Arsenal an advantage.
That's a point there, Colin.
That's less people booing them actually hit the away stadium. He's not having enough seats.
I feel so bad for their supporting Kroenke. That whole family has got to figure it out.
Is the solution not that simple though? Is it not just fire Arteta? Like, am I wrong on this?
I don't think you're wrong, but I also think they're at a point where the club can attract anybody who's going to be able to put them back into the top 4 within the next 5 years. So I don't think the solution is not that you're wrong. I just don't think there's a direct solution at this moment in time. It's going to be a long while, like a Manchester United after Alex Ferguson rebuild type time frame.
Did you see what Sonia said the other day or today?
Oh yeah, Bakary Sonia.
Bakary Sonia.
Yeah,
he ripped him apart. Ripped him. Oh my god, just tore him apart. Like, this isn't the team I played with. Like, we wouldn't stand for this shit. All this kind of stuff. Like,
there's no personality.
Yeah,
no identity.
They got a long road ahead, but
I mean, they're young too. Like, don't get me wrong, and like it sounds funny for anyone that's familiar with the NBA and Joel Embiid and the whole Philadelphia trust the process thing. If you guys watched Mikel Arteta give an interview, was basically saying almost the identical thing without saying trust the process. That's great, dude. But like, he just like
the problem
so flat.
You have to see some type of improvement. And just because the only reason that we can slightly say there's an improvement is because Bukayo Saka has been a revelation for them. He's been fantastic. Half the time, he's the only reason they're in a game.
Tierney and Smith Rowe have been good also.
Okay, yes, fair.
They've been good also.
But like, how long can you hold on to these guys if you can't get to the top 4 in the Premier League? You can't.
Exactly.
If I'm them, I'm not even aiming for that. Like, I'm not, no exaggeration. If they finish European Conference League this year, like that's
a win.
Very big success.
That's a win. Yeah,
there is. I would say there's maybe a 1% chance they finish in the top 4, and that's being generous at this point.
You're highballing.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. Oh, by the way, speaking of Europa Conference League, Mike, you want to take that one? We didn't bring that one up, but now we're gonna.
Oh, I forgot.
That's okay. That's okay. I personally would rather Spurs just crash out of that competition, because I don't know if it's worse to win that and then have a make-believe trophy as your first trophy, or
the Audi Cup.
The Audi Cup doesn't count.
Yeah, the Audi Cup was against Bayern Munich, and people forget that. Okay, that was legit.
Yeah, they're U9 team.
People forget that. Hang that on the ceiling.
While we're on the topic of Spurs, though, I did want to say something. Congratulations to Hugo Lloris. His 300 appearance makes him Tottenham's highest Premier League appearance player of all time.
Yeah,
not just goalie, like player too.
Nope, just the most caps for a Tottenham player in the Premier League.
Nice. I'm shocked he stayed that long.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same. He's the man.
Sorry, but moving
on. Next game on the agenda, we have Aston Villa and Brentford. It's actually, I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to say that this might be match of the week.
I wouldn't shock. I mean, granted, we have Liverpool, Chelsea later on. But like, if you took two mid-table to lower tier teams, yeah, I think they match up well against each other. It's gonna be a relatively pretty open game, and wouldn't shock me if this game was 1-1, 2-2, or 3-2. Without doubt.
Both teams want to score. Both teams have something to prove. They came both coming off very strong starts and want to keep momentum going. I think Aston Villa will edge it slightly. I think they have a little more experience in the Premier League. Brentford's going to have a lot of energy because it's still front half of the season, obviously the beginning of the season. But I think there's just going to be that slight experience and quality that Villa have that Brentford don't have at the moment. And that's going to take them through maybe on like a 2-1 or 3-2 game.
Yeah, I was going to say 2-1 Villa. I think this is where like that, I don't want to say the magic ends, but this is where the hard times begin. I'll put it that way. They're playing like a proper side now, right? They're not to say that's such a slow Arsenal of a week. They're playing a more complete team. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
All right. And I honestly think, to your point, Steve, it's definitely a better matchup, but this is like that type of game where that little edge of quality where it's like just like that one mistake and someone snips a pass and Ings comes in, gets a goal type of situation, just slides it past the keeper, right? That's kind of how I see this playing out, where it's like tied 1-1 to like the 70th, and then somebody comes in, nicks it for like the 82nd minute winner. So
yeah, I'm gonna take a 3-1 Aston Villa, honestly. I think Brentford stay in this game for a very long time. And then, like you said, just the quality in general. Someone like Ings pulls a little bit of magic out of the hat. They finish it off.
Yep.
Next up, actually, I guess a pretty good game the way Brighton's been playing. Brighton and Everton.
Yeah, definitely a good game.
Definitely know there's going to be one own goal by Michael Keane. So bet that. Whatever you do on FanDuel, bet that.
Both teams to score.
Both teams, yeah, 100% both teams to score. That being said, I think kind of going back to the Everton piece and kind of the quality piece we were just talking about, I think they have a little bit too much up top for Brighton to kind of handle in general. I'm also slightly swayed to kind of go down that draw route, just given the fact that that Brighton's going to be attacking. But I think in this game, I would give it a 1-0 advantage to Everton, especially if Maupay isn't playing. I don't know where the goal's coming from. So that's kind of where my thought process is.
I'm taking a 2-0 Everton here. I thought they've looked good overall so far. I think they were unlucky not to get the win against Leeds, and they did beat Southampton as well. With Maupay out, to Mike's point, if he's not in, I think Richarlison's going to tear him apart.
Did you guys? I don't know how accurate this was. I thought I saw something about with Charleston to PSG. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's assuming if Mbappe leaves and they want to sell Mbappe.
Okay, so that'd be probably like a year or so out then.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think the first priority for them is probably to offload Hamas.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. I'm actually gonna take a draw on this one. They're playing at the Amex. Brighton typically has a nice home field advantage. Fans back in the stadium. They're typically very well defensively. And they have been scoring a little bit. So I'm taking like a 1-1 there.
Okay.
Then we got Newcastle, Southampton, teams that really need to get some points in order to help out their relegation battles. Any takers?
Oh,
I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. I'll take a draw on this one. I don't think either side has looked terrible. I mean, Newcastle put 2 against West Ham, who are technically now table toppers at this point.
They are.
Southampton put 1 against Everton. I don't think either team looks great, and I don't think either team looks bad. I think this is, on paper, it's a very straightforward matchup. I think you're going to get a lot of missed opportunities, basically. I think it's going to end up being about a 1-1 draw.
Okay. I'm going to go with the 1-0 Southampton. I think that they're going to pull this one out of the hat because it's against a lower or an equal quality to lower quality team of Newcastle. It'll definitely be a cagey kind of match, though, to say the least. Like you said, a lot of missed chances, a lot of opportunities that'll go by the wayside. Somebody will kind of score something right after half, right before half, and then that'll be it. So, and the game will kind of just die out.
I'm going to take a 1-1 draw here. I think Callum Wilson comes back, scores 1, and I think Armstrong gets another for Southampton as well. Nothing too crazy in this one going on. I don't think there's going to be that many chances created in general. Then we got our boys, poor Norwich City versus Leicester, coming off a loss, probably pissed off.
Never want to face a team pissed off.
The revenge aspect. And they're not even mad at Norwich. They're just mad in general.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a Leicester win here off the bat. So
right off the bat, I will follow that up. Yeah.
If you had to pick the first 3 games where Norwich was to nick a point,
this would be one.
This would have been the one. And I'm just looking at their past games. We have a Leicester 2-0 win or 2-1, and another Leicester 2-1, Leicester 1-0. A draw 1-1, and the last time they played back in 2020, Norwich somehow came away with a 1-0 win. Leicester hasn't looked that great going forward at all.
Leicester has been one of my teams so far that
a little disappointing.
I'm a little worried about, actually, given what we've seen from them. Regardless of the red card, they looked like crap for the opening 20 minutes of that game, 25 minutes of that game.
I mean, their 2 goals right now are Tielemans taking one off the dome and just reacting quicker.
Yeah.
And then a Jamie Vardy through ball?
I think it was a penalty, wasn't it?
No.
No.
It was a through ball he ran onto.
It was a
nice
cross.
finish.
It was a cross that he
Cross.
flipped over the keeper.
Perez. That coming off a shellacking from West Ham, Norwich has to be. You're right. They have to be thinking if we're going to get a point in the opening couple weeks, this is it.
I'm gonna take a 0-0.
Oh wow, 0-0 2 to boot. Wow, you're really going for it.
It's their first game back at Carroll Road, right? The other 2 are away. It was definitely away to Liverpool.
You have 3 draws right now, Steve.
Yeah,
listen, someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. All right. All right. First of all, I don't want to hear shit out of either one of you. You said strike 12 and I'm just 1-6. I'm 2 weeks straight.
You got a lot.
I wish. I wish I knew
lightning
what
strike
you
in the 3rd
said.
time. What were you saying, Mike?
Said I wish I knew what you said, but your internet is just. Ugh.
Okay, it's not just me. All right, cool. I'm great. I thought it was just me.
Oh, is it that bad? I'm gonna have to get the.
No, it's like once in a blue moon. You're all right.
I mean, we got
it's only when you get really riled up.
You're making your internet scared, Steve. Take it down.
I mean, I haven't been to the gym in like 2 months after my puppy, so they should not be scared of anything I got going on.
No pythons.
Pistons
next?
next. We got West Ham and Crystal Palace. West
Is
Ham.
this in Crystal Palace? Are they home or is it in the Olympic Stadium?
No, they're in London, or I mean the London Stadium.
London Stadium. Sorry, Olympic Stadium. West Ham for sure. If it was in Palace, I would have went with a draw. I think they would have slipped up. But I'm home field. I'm taking West Ham.
4 goals in 2 straight games, and they look unstoppable going forward. It's West Ham.
Yeah,
West Ham.
All right, we got probably our game of the week here, Saturday primetime, 12:30 Eastern. Liverpool and Chelsea, and they are at Anfield.
Sure.
This is going to be a hell of a game. This is almost, you could debatably say, a title deciding game.
Yes.
Realistically, even though it's this early in the season, like this is a battle for the top 4. This is going to determine who's probably finishing second and who's probably finishing third. Realistically, This could be one of those types of games.
It's a chance for both teams to put a marker down, to make a statement early on and be like, we didn't come to screw around this year. We want the title from City. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool sitting there going, we got Van Dijk back.
That's the one thing that I think will ultimately push Liverpool over the edge in this game. Are they playing in Liverpool?
Yeah, they're playing at Anfield.
I think that's the one thing, besides obviously the 12th man factor, right? Like the fans in general. The fact that Virgil van Dijk is going to be back. He's going to be, if there's anybody in the league you would expect to be able to post up Romelu Lukaku, it's Virgil van Dijk. So I think they have that going for them. Defensively, Liverpool look good. Granted, they've played lesser quality teams, but they've looked really good going forward. They look like they have a new energy on life. Salah specifically has looked really good. So I think the way that Chelsea play, and they kind of use those wing backs pushing forward, that's going to expose a lot of space. And I think that's where they're going to win the game ultimately. So,
yeah, this is such a contradictory. I know it's only 2 games in, but it's such a contradictory feeling to last year. Obviously, regardless of the injuries, you're talking about 2 games in, and Mane has a goal, Salah's got a goal, Jota's got a goal, and Firmino's got a goal. You're talking about that whole front 4 coming out right off the bat of this season, which is obviously something we didn't see last year as injuries demanded. But I'm with Mike on this one. I think Rome's going to have a good time with Van Dijk. I think it's going to be a good battle, but I think ultimately it's going to end up being a stalemate between them. And once that happens, you're going to see Liverpool kind of take control of the game. I actually think something a little bit differently, though, that in regards to the wingbacks, as good as Alexander-Arnold and, Robertson's not even playing because he's injured, that as good as they are going forward, they lack the defensive edge that some of the other wingbacks have, typically like someone like Reece James. And I think they're going to get exposed by somebody like Reece James and maybe Marcos Alonso coming forward. I think that's where Chelsea could win the game as well. I think Liverpool will take this game because it's Anfield. The fans are back. Chelsea's Champions League winners. and Liverpool need to make a statement that they're not the Liverpool of last year. I think it's going to be a 2-1 game ultimately, and Liverpool's going to take 3 points.
I'm torn between a 2-1 and a 2-2 draw. I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea. The only thing that scares me about them is out of their 5 goals, they've had 3 defenders score. So I'm a little nervous on that. And, one was a free kick, one was a Chalobah, just absolute rip. But we haven't seen the best Chelsea team. They've played in third gear pretty much
exactly.
games. And I don't think we've seen anywhere near the amount of quality they have. Not saying they've played bad, because they've played really well in both those games. I just think they've been kind of relaxing almost when they played. They look like they were just hanging out against Arsenal, in a practice squad match.
There were glimpses of them going into full gear and during that first half against Arsenal, but nothing sustainable at that point. I think you're right.
I think with another week with Lukaku in there, some just screams to me Chelsea comes in there at a minimum they grab a point, but I think they do come away with the win.
On a side note, because this is something I was thinking about when we were talking about predictions before. What's going on with Chilwell? I think this is a game Chilwell needs to be in the starting lineup. I think you need his defensive acumen more than you need Alonso's attacking acumen.
He likes the wing back.
I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll keep Alonso.
I don't think so either. I agree with you. I think he's going to start. But do you think it's a Tuchel decision not to be playing Chilwell? I mean, a 50 million pound defender.
100%.
It's a system thing.
100%.
He likes wing backs. Alonso legitimately was made the wing back position was made for Marcus Alonso. End of story. He can't play anywhere else on the field. That is legitimately the perfect spot for him.
Thank you, Antonio Conte.
Yeah, right. Remember Victor
Taylor.
But it's more of a Tuchel thing in my opinion. He likes the wing backs. Chilwell is definitely a better defender without a doubt. That's not even questionable. But just the system that he plays, it's just Marcus's spot right now.
Yeah.
I can see them moving Azpilicueta over there for that game.
What do you mean? It's a left center back or?
No, right. The Reece James position. I don't think you should, but I think he could.
I don't think they would do that.
Not to stabilize him a little bit.
He'll tuck right in behind Reece James. He'll play right center back. Sunday morning games, we got 2 of them. First one up, Burnley and Leeds.
Oof.
That's
Burnley
a tough one.
And Leeds. The all-out attack versus the all-out defense. The White Walkers versus the
versus Jon Snow.
Versus Jon Snow.
Army of the North.
No, it's going to be a good. And I don't even want to say it's going to be a good game. It's going to be pretty much just an onslaught against a team sitting there waiting to counter. Hopefully, who knocks down a header or two to their big men. I think this is a game that Leeds will probably win 2-1 realistically.
I agree.
So.
It's kind of be reminiscent of when Liverpool played Burnley. The Leeds and Liverpool to me have a very similar style of always in the front foot, press, high tempo, and keep the fluidity in the attack. And I mean, if they just beat them 2-0, I think you're gonna have a similar scoreline. I think Mike's right in the money with 2-1.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say 3-1 Leeds. They're definitely gonna get some goals, and Burnley's gonna kick one back. I mean, Leeds just can't. Clean sheets don't exist. Poor Mazier. We got Tottenham is Watford as the other 9:00 game. Are we sticking with come on you Spurs, Michael? Can they pull off 3 in a row in the Premier League?
Ooh, what a start. What a start that would be for Nuno and company. Especially especially after the whole summer, the Kane saga. We'll see what happens. But honestly, I have Watford finishing last in our table for a reason. I don't see them nicking a point off Spurs at this moment in time. They seem to be playing very confidently, albeit against an aggressive Wolves team. I don't think Watford has that capability or that ability. The only player I'd be worried about is Sarr, to be honest. Besides that, I just don't see Watford really putting up too much of a fight after that first goal goes in. So, so I'm going to say 2-0 Spurs.
Yeah. I second that motion.
I want to just be different with you guys.
It's hard. It's hard on this one.
That one I just can't see any other scenario at this point. Watford, like you said, Sarr looks good on the wing. He's been creative for them without a doubt. It's just
he had to do something magical, and then the defense would have to be just immaculate, essentially.
Yeah, so, I don't see.
The only area I could see it being a struggle where it becomes that potential draw, as if they do what other teams have done to Tottenham in the past who are lower, and they just drop everybody into the box and then they're half and they go, okay, break us down. And that's where Spurs, especially without a creative player like Eriksson, really struggle.
Yep.
So
narrow in the middle, 3 center backs, just clog up the 6-yard box, make him take it from distance.
Exactly.
You think Kane's starting on Sunday now? Finally.
Yeah, I do. I don't think he's leaving at this point.
It's too late in the window for them. They wouldn't be able to sign a replacement.
I don't think he's
a proper replacement.
Yeah.
Then the last game of the weekend before international break, we got Wolves and Manchester United.
This could be that game that we were talking about where that identity of Wolves really gets put on the big screen and everybody sees it and everybody sees how they play. I think they're going to give that team a lot of issues, specifically Adama, just because he's Adama. I really want to say a Manchester United win, like 3-1 or something along those lines, or because I think Wolves will finally break that duck.
They're playing however, too.
However, a part of me, really like for whatever reason, the gut feeling, I think it's a 2-2 draw.
I'm glad you didn't say a Wolves win because we only have one different prediction this week, Mike. One other game. I'm going Wolves this game. I think this is where it comes together for them.
God damn it, Vito.
I think it's a little. Don't get me wrong. I agree with Mike. My head says to go with United, but my gut says look at the way that Wolves have performed the last 2 weeks. This is going to be coming up against. Is it in Old Trafford or no?
No, it's at the Mall now.
There you go. I think they're going to be looking at this game and you're going to get one of 2 reactions from this team. It's either going to be, damn, we're unlucky, or it's like, all right, shit is going to bounce our way today. Not like these last 2 weeks. I think they're going to come out firing.
So Man U hasn't lost an away game, I think, in 27 now. They tied the
means they're due.
They are, listen.
They're due.
Better's logic means they are due.
Yeah. The law of averages.
I think the law of averages applies to Wolves in the sense of their shooting ability right now.
There you go. Yeah.
You put 42 shots.
One's
got to go in, right?
Like, how does it not break? This feels like a trap game, if anything. And I know, Man, you just kind of had one, but something screams 2-1 Wolves to me. And I'm going to look like an idiot probably next week when we see Man U walk out with 3-0.
Yeah.
But something screams 2-1 Wolves. And I'm doing it.
I think it's going to be 1-0, but I hear you.
I don't think they shut him out. I don't see a Man U. I think they're just too good offensively, especially the way Pogba's been playing. If he has an off game though, that wouldn't shock me one bit either.
Well, Pogba and United, inconsistency at its finest.
Big facts. But not too much more to wrap up, guys. I know we were going to go over our bold predictions, and we kind of already spoiled it. I spoiled it. I won a second straight week, another 6-5-5 roundup. So we're up to me with 12 and both of you with 5. Like, don't strike twice,
10,
baby.
you bitch.
10.
5 each week, 10 total.
Yeah. You don't gotta make it sound good.
Talking shit over there. You're lucky you're in New Jersey.
Right there. Really, you guys got anything to add to the rest of the show and stuff? We pretty much covered
I guess from like a transfer perspective, obviously you guys signed Lukaku, and I think prior to the last show we recorded, phenomenal signing. He looks like already he's worth every penny of the 100 mil they paid for him. And on a side note, Chelsea, I know you guys were talking about this prior, have sold a ton of players even after they signed Lukaku, and they're about to. So they're recouping all that money slowly and surely. So
it's actually, I haven't looked on their what all the teams have been net spend is, but they're probably pretty close to even again after that Tammy.
Yeah, they're doing a great job from a transfer perspective.
Especially if Zuma goes.
Yeah, which he probably will. It's what it looks like. He probably will.
And able to go on loan, etc.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see as the week wraps up too. I can't think of any other major transfer news besides the Kane one. Most likely he will stay. Rumors about
looking like it.
Yeah, rumors about Ndombele going, McKennie maybe coming in, which supposedly is has some BS to it. Rumors about Traore. We'll see. I personally wouldn't want him, but
what do you guys think about some USA guys that I don't know why I just said that so weirdly. What do you guys think? Like, I know someone like Chris Richard, like he can't. Like,
he has to go on loan to like a Hoffenheim again or go somewhere else. He's got to go somewhere.
Right, like him,
doesn't even matter where it is. He just has to play.
Yet, like Yedlin, he's just sitting on the bench at Galatasaray. I don't know why I can't say that either right now. Miles Robinson, Matt Turner. There's guys that I feel like they should be on the move for them, and they're really not.
Couldn't tell you, man. I'm not a European scout.
You're right. I mean, they have to be playing. You want the best opportunity possible, but we're at a point in the transfer window now where if something comes along, you just take it because you can't afford to be sitting on that bench and stun another year of your growth, especially at a point in most of these young Americans' careers where this is their years to develop. This is their 19 to 24 range where they put it all together. So hopefully someone like Richardson can get out there, but
yeah, you got the World Cup qualifiers come up. You got the World Cup next year. Like, if you're not playing and getting regular minutes,
then they're not going. Period.
You know what I mean? Realistically, before the Gold Cup or anything, even a little bit after, I was kind of saying Richards should be next to Brooks. But now with the way Miles Robinson's been playing just constantly, like if I saw Richards playing the same way, like I'd still be Richards. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how you can say otherwise. So.
I'm using that as an example, like Richard's just one of the guys. I think there's plenty of them that could be used, but you got to start getting him some regular minutes come, off our time.
Steve, if you don't have anything, I have one thing to wrap us up. Keep an eye out this Sunday. Messi did not make his debut against Brest. I think Brest was able to clean their draws out in time. Unfortunately for Reims, they are going to get reamed the hell out this weekend because Messi, I believe, will be making his debut, is the wide report, and PSG might actually have to add a third digit onto the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Nah, man, celebrations take up a little bit of time.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the goalie making one single save, it might be 100% possession as well.
Yeah, that'll be a bloodbath.
Yeah. It's like Django, but worse.
I mean, dude, Neymar, Suarez, and Messi, that was a insane top three to watch back in the day.
I know. Yeah. Now you have Icardi, Mbappe.
Icardi's injured.
Yeah, he's hurt. Right
okay.
Neymar, Mbappe, Messi.
That's all you need.
Ramos.
That's all you need.
Hakimi might as well be a forward.
He's not playing any defense.
I had like 19 assists not 19, obviously, but yeah, no, definitely keep an eye out. I mean, there's a good chance that we're watching history on Sunday, depending on how it goes for PSG over the next 2-3 years. You might be seeing the beginning of the best team to ever step on a field.
Yeah, that's a hot take, but honestly, I don't disagree with you because I think there's a real probability in that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Farmers League, but
the only way that it becomes a reality is if they win the Champions League this year.
They have to.
Straight up. Like, that's it.
Anything but a treble is an absolute loss for PSG.
It's a failure.
To be honest, they should win all the two domestic tournaments and the league and then the Champions League. They should win everything. Yeah. There's no excuse not to.
Yeah, I'd agree.
That's fair.
I'd honestly agree.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to argue that. I don't know. It just seems like facts.
Oh, so I'm sorry. One last thing. This was actually a piece of news that came out over the last week. Did you guys see the Barcelona president say that Barcelona's in $1.6 billion in debt, and that's why they couldn't keep Messi?
If you ever think, anybody listening, that you can't manage your finances, just remember that the most popular club in probably the world are run by a bunch of idiots. So
no wonder they want the Super League. You need $2 billion to be in the green. Not the green, but
So I don't know if it's just living in the US with the capitalism and everything like that, but like football is definitely a business, especially overseas, like without a doubt. How are they still in business? Like how
loans.
What kind of bank is giving them money?
Yeah.
Who's like 1.4 billion? You need 200 more million? This can't possibly go wrong. There's no way it happens 14 times in a row. Like
there's after so much, like you just don't get any more money. If you run a bad business, if you spend more than you make,
too big to fail.
Yeah, they would get bailed out.
Baby. But like if you spend that much and only take in so much, eventually you just fold. And it's crazy to me that how much they just get lent.
Are they publicly owned? Either them or Madrid? Kind of the same way the Packers are owned in America by the fan base.
Sure, publicly owned.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
All I'm saying is
Well, there's teams that are publicly owned in the sense of like a
Yeah.
stock where like you have Man U on like actual stock exchange. I know Juventus, I think they're on theirs, but I don't know about Barcelona.
If any of the world's richest billionaires were thinking about buying one of the biggest clubs in the world, there's no better time than right now between Madrid
Pennies
and
on the
them.
dollar, baby.
Don't tempt Bezos.
Bezos is gonna buy the whole fucking league when he's done, dude, and then fly him into space. First game on the moon. Here we go. But
No, I got you. That'll do it for this episode of the Sunday League Screamers podcast. Like, comment, and hit the bell to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at the SL Screamers_pod for daily tweets and updates about the show, world football in general. I'm your host, Steve McCutcheon, with Michael Nowen and Vito Anazelli signing off.
later, guys. See you next week.
Later.
Bye.